I'm Markee Dragon, also known as Marcus Eikenberry in real life, and welcome to another edition of the Markee Dragon Show. So, a couple things this episode. One is that, I got all these blank shelves behind me. I'm getting my office set up here and everything. And look at what just arrived. Wow. This is the Ultima Forever map. And it's cloth map. It was just sent to me by the producer and the team doing Ultima Forever. They also sent me these cards, and I'm debating on whether or not to open them or not. The tarot cards. And maybe I will. I think I will. So this is stuff that can go up on my my shelf here. I wasn't expecting to get anything. This was, I think, a gift that they sent out to everyone who helped with the alpha testing. And so, anyway, got these cards here. And then, let's see here, what have we got? They're all in runic. I'm going to have to translate these, but let's see here. Can you... There we go, it's in focus. So these are kind of cool. These are tarot cards, which in Ultima, there was a lot of stuff that was done, kind of the mystic arts stuff and everything, tarot cards. Oh, there's a few of them here. I have no idea what they all mean, but I'm sure I'll figure it all out. And so... it had to do with, reading the future of the avatar and everything, and seeing whether or not, tarot type stuff. So, let's talk computer hardware. So I got a great question from LycceaTV, and he's got a question about SSDs. And SSDs are, they're hard drives that are not the same as traditional hard drives, because traditional hard drive has a disk in it. And in fact, I got some hard drives sitting right here. Let me show you one. So this is one that went bad, and this is your typical hard drive. This is a 2 terabyte hard drive, and I need to get it replaced. My server won't boot with this one installed, but let's see. I'll put it back so I don't knock it over and hurt it or nothing. That's a traditional hard drive, and it has platters inside of it, and they spin. It looks like a record player inside, and it has a head, or actually multiple heads, because there's multiple platters that go over it and read and write data to it. And now, it has kind of speed limitations because it's kind of an analog process of how it reads and writes the data. It has to go find it in, with this mechanical, armature, and it has to spin the disk fast enough to read the data. And so it's the difference between a record and a record player, and skipping to the next song, you have to pick it up and you have to move it and everything, as opposed to an MP3 player where you just hit next song and it just says, bam, okay, we're on the next song. So it just drops what it's doing and starts the next song. And so there's a difference there in that. And so he's talking that he's in the process of building, let me get back to the hard drive stuff. So that is the traditional hard drives the way they are. They're all moving towards being 100% non-mechanical or just memory drives. That's what an SSD is. It's a it's like solid state drive, I think is what it stands for. I'm not sure I remember that, but it has no mechanics in it, and so it's like a memory chip or like a USB stick, for a memory drive, and it. So it's much faster, lower power consumption, less heat, smaller size. And in fact, they're the size of a 2.5-inch hard drive, which is much smaller. I don't have one here that I can just show you, but it's the same size as laptop drives. And so here's his question. He says he's in the process of building a new PC so he can stream on Twitch at 1080p with some awesome stability. golly, when you figure it all out, let me know. Well, I can stream at 1080p, but I can't record it locally at the same time to replay it. I just don't have enough horsepower. And so he's got an i7 6-core 3930K. Wow, that's a beast of a CPU. And an ASUS Sabertooth X79 motherboard. The ASUS, that's what I have in mind. I can overclock anything. I can control everything. It's kind of cool. Let's see, a GTX 680 4GB video card. Wow. He's dropped some dough on this. 16GB of RAM, a CPU cooler, Corsair 850 watt PSU, and a Coolermaster case. And the only thing he's unsure about is whether he should go SSD or HDD, which is hard disk drive. And so wondering if it's safe to run only an SSD, or would you need a small SSD for the OS and games and a 1TB hard drive or something else? Okay, here's my recommendation. We're in the middle of all of this. Now, if money's no object, you may as well put together, the SSDs, the 512 gigabyte range is not too bad in price. I think I've seen some 1TB on the market, but they get crazy expensive. And the 256 gig ones, which is what I've got, they're getting quite reasonable in price. So now I run a hybrid, and so I have both the SSD in my machine, and I have two regular hard drives. And I have a regular hard drive for my OS, and then the SSD, and then I have another drive which I use to save data, and whether it be save games or videos that have been recorded or whatnot. And so that has all that data on it. Now the SSD has only 256 gigs, so it's limited in size, so I can't just dump everything on it. So I use it as like my scratch disk whenever I'm editing videos. And it's very fast, and a scratch is like when there's not enough memory in the computer, that it'll then start dumping some of it to the hard drives. Well, if it's a memory drive like these, it's going to be much, much faster, and it's going to greatly increase your time reading and writing data and everything. And so I use that for my scratch disk, and then I also use that for all of my active files, like when I'm live streaming and stuff, or like recording this, the whole intro, that actually the music and the image is contained on the SSD, and that way it just loads faster. But I don't need to have everything that fast, and I can't afford to do it all. To have all of my hard disk be in that. But if money's no object, that ASUS motherboard can probably run 6 or 7 drives, and then you could RAID them together, and you could do a RAID configuration that would allow you to lose one. That if one went bad, you could just pull it out, and the others would keep all the data and pop a new one in and make it part of the RAID again. I've done that before. I have a home server that has 9 terabytes of storage space on it in total, and it keeps bombing its drives. And in fact, that's what that drive was I was showing you. I actually have 4 drives that it's wrecked, and so I'm going through customer support with that as to why it keeps chewing up the hard drives. And good thing for a long warranty. We paid for the extra warranty on that home server, and so my home server actually is quite useless right now because it keeps damaging the drive, so it's just turned off. So I know that in big corporate environments, they're now using all of these kind of drives, and because they produce less heat, and heat is your enemy in your computer, and so it actually causes your computer to work harder, and it'll operate quicker the cooler it is. And so and that's just a kind of a function of electronics, that they operate more efficiently the cooler they are. And in fact, I can tell you about. Let me tell you about this really neat thing that I came across, and this was probably, gosh, 15 or 20 years ago now. So, well, let me just finish this, and then I'll tell you this story about Borealis exploration. So, as far as I'm concerned, if you've got the money to dump all of your, to do all of them as SSDs, you may as well. Or do everything for your primary on SSDs and then have one like 2 terabyte or 3 terabyte drive that you have in there as like storage or whatever. It depends on what all you're doing. If you're doing video editing like me, which by the way, I went and looked at your channel, and I'll link to your channel from this video. The cool sunglasses, dude. All your videos you're wearing sunglasses. So anyway, so that's what my recommendation would be. I wish I had the kind of money to dump into something like that, maybe in the future. Who knows? So, okay, so talking about computer coolness and keeping computers cool. So, Borealis exploration, back in the days when I was doing, when I had my computer store, and I was doing on-site tech work for people, and this company was near town. I had to drive a ways out to get to them. I don't know why they were called Borealis Exploration, but I know they had a mine on their property, and which had nothing to do with the electronics they were doing. And they were a virtual company. They were the first virtual company that I ever encountered. Every person in the company worked at a different location from home, and they all collaborated online. And this is in the infancy of the internet, so that was they were pretty progressive, and they somehow, I don't know how they did this, but they developed a process of electronics that they could put on top of a CPU this plate, and then they would power it, and the plate would create coolness and release heat through its fins. And it was really quite quite amazing. And they were hoping to get it to do this for CPUs and everything, but I don't know that they ever got that kind of heat transference to where they could get the CPUs cool enough that they didn't need a fan. But we do see this technology in stuff like portable refrigerators and everything nowadays. You know, have you seen it where you plug in this portable refrigerator, and like, you can plug it in your car or at home or whatnot, and it has just a little tiny fan and just this metal plate with some fins on it. And depending on which way you do the polarity, it will either heat it or cool it. And so I've had one of those for years, and it's very similar technology. I don't know if it's the exact same thing, but it's very similar to what they were doing, and pretty neat stuff. I remember they were in talks with HP and Intel. In fact, the Intel was really just 20 miles away from where they were at and everything, and so and actually HP had a really big thing too there. So anyway, that was just really interesting. I remember that their son did one of the first open source Linux businesses, and they were in Portland, Oregon, and I remember seeing him on CNN and stuff like that, and the kid was, gosh, he was 16 or 17 when he started that, and he ran this open source company and everything. They were a very highly technological family, and it was really cool to see the kind of stuff that they were doing. And I didn't understand all of it at the time. I was just there to fix their computers, and they would talk to me while I was there, and so that was kind of cool. So anyway, LycceaTV, I hope that answers your question. If you have questions, feel free to message me in YouTube. And now, a couple more things. One is that at the end of this video, which is just about to happen, there's going to be a WarZ friend code, guest pass code shown, and it won't be available to use it until October 31st, but So it's going to be a mad dash, I guess, October 31st to see who gets it. And if you're playing War Z and you have any extra guest codes that you would like to send me in YouTube that you haven't already sent to somebody else, I will include them in the same fashion and give you props for sending them in. So now, one other thing to mention, right now, if you're looking for another game to play and you have a PS3, check out Dust 514. It's going to be a free-to-play game, but right now it's in beta only. We have beta codes. There's a link in the description for this. We have beta codes at markeedragon.com, and for both the US and EU versions. So give it a try, and it's pretty cool. It interacts with EVE Online, and it is the ground forces, the troops on the planets that are battling it out when planets are taken over from the players in EVE Online as they come in and they claim planets and everything, and so you're fighting on the behalf of other players. It's really kind of cool. So check it out. I wish I had a PS3. If you have one you want to sell me real cheap, feel free to message me. And I mean really cheap, because I'm probably only going to be just trying Dust 514 on it. I really don't play many console games. I usually stick to my PC games. And look for this in the future, that November 5th, we're going to have a War Z marathon. So I've started recording my stuff from War Z, which is a zombie apocalypse game, but I can't show any of it. It's under NDA until November 5th. And so November 5th, I will be showing the stuff, and it will. The game is a lot of fun. A lot of fun. In fact, I think I'm going to go play some now after this video. So take care, everybody, and thanks for the questions.